Alright, today we're going to make chicken breast that cooks very quickly, super simple to make, and stays moist. To start, we're going to wet brine our chicken. So to 1 quart of water, we add 2 to 4 tablespoons of salt depending on how salty you like your chicken. Dump that in, stir it around to make sure it all dissolves, and then put the chicken in. The reason I like wet brining is because I never remember to defrost my chicken, so a wet brine will both season and defrost the chicken quickly. I like to do this the morning of or 4 hours from before I want to cook the chicken. If you did remember to defrost the chicken though, then you can dry brine, which is just chicken, salt. Add the salt and let it sit in the refrigerator until you want to cook. Both wet and dry brining helps the chicken stay moist as it cooks. Wet brining will add a little more moisture, but that's just water without any chicken flavor. Still good, just something to keep in mind. Once the chicken is thawed, we take it out and we cut it in half lengthwise. The reason for this is because chicken breasts from the supermarket are usually too thick. By the time the inside cooks, the outside will be burnt. So cutting it in half will solve this issue. I like to put the cutting board on the edge of the table so that way I can maneuver the knife easily, and I take my hand and put it on top of the chicken breast to hold it in place. Make clean, lengthwise cuts to ensure even thickness on both halves. Once you get far enough, you can open it up like a book and just slice down the middle. This will take some practice. I still mess it up as you can see in the video, but just keep trying and you guys will get it. After that, we dry the chicken. The reason for this is because if the surface is still wet when you put it in the pan, it'll steam as opposed to sear and won't get that great golden color. Now we do final seasoning. We don't need salt because of the brine, so just add whatever you want at this moment. In the video, I'm only using pepper just to keep it simple. I'm mostly using mayo for 2 reasons. 1, it'll help whatever seasonings I want stick to the chicken better. And 2, the egg proteins and oil in the mayo supposedly help the chicken get a better sear. I haven't noticed a difference, which is why I'm only doing it to 1 piece, but your mileage may vary. That being said, if I had other seasonings that I wanted to guarantee stay on the chicken, I would mayo both of them. Now we preheat our pan, so put it on medium-high heat and let it sit there for a bit. Once it gets suitably hot, we add a little bit of oil and swirl it around. Once that oil starts barely shimmering or smoking, we wipe it around and make sure to get all the crevices in the pan. What we're doing is called seasoning and is to help the pan get a non-stick surface. But if you have a non-stick pan already, you don't have to do this. Once that seasoning starts smoking again, the pan is seasoned and we can begin. We add some oil and swirl it around. We need to make sure this oil is hot enough before we add the chicken. To determine that, grab the chicken by the thin tails and just dab it into the oil. You should hear a sizzle. Once you hear the sizzle, lay the chicken into the pan away from you to avoid the oil splattering back onto you. The reason why we grab the thin tail end is because we want to lay it onto the side of the pan. Because of its thinness, it'll cook quicker than the thicker part of the chicken, so we want it away from the heat for even cooking. Once the chicken is in the pan, I like to let it sit there and not touch it for anywhere from 3 to 4 minutes on this first side. After that, I like to give it 1 good flip. You'll know it's ready to flip once it peels away from the pan easily with very little resistance. If it's smoking up too much, you can put a lid just to control the smoke and let it sit there again for another 3 to 4 minutes on this side. After that, I gave it another flip just to check the color on the other side. And again, it should flip with little to no resistance. And that's it. It's almost done. We just have to let it rest. The reason for this is because while the chicken was cooking, those muscle fibers were squeezing out moisture, so by letting it rest, they relax and they help retain that juice. After it's rested, it is good to be served. Plate it up and enjoy!